Dear listeners, today we present you Lecture 3, which is devoted to the past tenses. We are going to outline the past indefinite or simple, the past continuous tense, the past perfect tense, the past perfect continuous tense. We are going to give the past tenses overview, provide you with references and the questions for discussion. The past indefinite or the past simple tense interprets the fact or the event or state taken place in the present, past, or future. The past indefinite tense interprets repeated events in the past. For example, they visited their granny last weekend. The verb form visited is used in the past indefinite tense, and we have the reference to the time expressed by the phrase last weekend. The past indefinite tense interprets repeated action in the past, which is no longer true. Even though she hated baseball, she used to come to the games to watch me play. Used to come is the verb form in the past indefinite tense, which interprets repeated action in the past. When she was on a shoot, Rachel would cook for the other models. Here, the past indefinite tense expresses a repeated action in the past. The past indefinite tense may also interpret characteristics of people. She is really a wonderful woman, completely unspoiled. She loved to cook. The verb form loved expresses and interprets her characteristics and her preference to cooking. Please be aware of meanings conveyed by the finite forms of the verbs in the following context. I put on my coat and left. He called me and told the latest news. She used to come home on vacation in summer. We didn't know the way, so we asked a passerby. Jack would definitely wear the coat he bought. So, would you consider the difference between the verb forms and their meaning? The past continuous tense interprets duration of the event which was in process at a definite moment in the past. When she spoke, her voice was trembling. Here we have one verb form in the past simple or indefinite tense. When she spoke, her voice was trembling. Here we have the verb form in the past continuous tense, which interprets duration of the event in the definite moment in the past during her speech. Professor McGonagall flinched, but Dumbledore, who was unsticking two orange drops, seemed not to notice. Was unsticking is the verb form used in the past continuous tense, and it interprets duration of the event at the particular moment. She was reading a book all day long. Here, the verb form was reading is used in the past continuous tense, and it interprets the duration of the event at a particular moment, which is indicated by the adverbial modifier of time, all day long. The past continuous tense may interpret a certain behavior which is peculiar to the person at a given moment in the past, and it is revealed by his or her actions. I didn't want to argue with him at that moment, but was sure he wasn't being fair. The verb form wasn't being fair is used in the past continuous tense in order to convey and express a certain behavior which is peculiar to this person at this particular time. The past continuous tense may also interpret the speaker's annoyance and indignation in the past through continual conceptualization of events, especially with adverbial modifiers of time, such as always and constantly. She was constantly complaining of being lonely. She was constantly complaining is used in the past continuous tense in order to express the speaker's annoyance and indignation at her behavior. Think, please, of the meanings conveyed by the finite forms of the verbs in the following context. I was walking down the street and talking on the phone when I saw Mary. We were discussing the final question when my cousin was being so rude. She called me when I was driving, so I could not answer. Please consider the context and make the difference between the verb forms and the meanings they interpret. The past perfect tense interprets a completed event before a certain period of time in the past. For example, she was back on Pennsylvania Avenue in the bleak winter sunlight, listening to the fading sounds of the jet plane and the ambulance siren that had triggered her memories. Had triggered is the verb form used in the past perfect tense, and it indicates a completed event before a certain period of time in the past. And we should mention that the perfect form of the verb interprets a completed action before a definite moment in the past. And this meaning is conveyed in our context. The past perfect continuous tense interprets an event which began before a definite moment in the past, went on up to that moment, and was still going on at that moment. For example, he had been asking about you. He wanted you to take care of yourself. Had been asking is the verb form used in the past perfect continuous tense and interprets an event which began before a definite moment in the past, went up to that moment, and was still going on at that moment. He had been asking all that time. This slide shows you the overview of the past tenses with the variety of contexts and meanings that they normally interpret and are used in. This slide shows you the references of the books and manuals that you may consult and use in your preparation for the seminars and session. This slide shows you the questions for discussion which may be used by you for revision of the material we have studied.